Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Tonight, we're peeling back the layers of London's foggy, gaslit past to explore one of its most chilling and enduring legends, the werewolf. The very words Werewolves of London conjure images of moonlit alleys, monstrous howls echoing through the cobbled streets, and a primal fear of the beast within. But where did this terrifying tale come from? How did ancient superstitions about shapeshifters evolve into a uniquely London urban legend? Join me as we journey into the heart of the Shadowlands to uncover the history of lycanthropic lore in this great city. Our story doesn't begin in London, but in the annals of ancient history. The concept of lycanthropy, the supernatural transformation of a person into a wolf, is as old as civilization itself. The ancient Greeks told the tale of Lycaon, a king cursed by Zeus to become a wolf for his wickedness. The Norse had their fearsome berserkers, warriors who fought with a wolf-like fury. These stories traveled across cultures and continents, carried by Roman soldiers, Viking invaders, and medieval scholars. By the time the Middle Ages dawned, the werewolf was a deeply embedded figure in European folklore, a symbol of savagery, demonic possession, and the dark side of human nature. But as these tales reached the British Isles, they began to take on a local flavor. Early English accounts often blurred the lines between werewolves and outlaws. Men who lived outside the law, hiding in the dense forests that once covered the land, were sometimes described in monstrous, wolf-like terms. They were seen as preying on society, just as a wolf preys on a flock. This connection between the outlaw and the beast was a crucial first step in localizing the werewolf myth. The fear wasn't just of a supernatural monster, but of the dangerous, untamed man living on the fringes of civilization, a very real threat in a less ordered world. It was during the 16th and 17th centuries, a time of intense religious fervor and witch trials across Europe, that the werewolf legend truly began to crystallize in the public imagination. While continental Europe saw numerous, sensational werewolf trials, with individuals confessing under torture to making pacts with the devil and transforming into wolves to commit horrific acts. England's experience was different. Here, the belief in witchcraft was strong, but the specific accusation of lycanthropy was much rarer. Instead, the werewolf often appeared in pamphlets and chapbooks, cheap, sensationalist literature that was the true crime podcast of its day. One of the most famous English cases is that of the Werewolf of Bedburg, a German story from 1589 about a man named Peter Stump. The tale was so gruesome and popular that it was quickly translated and circulated in London. Stump was accused of using dark magic to become a wolf, preying on his community for over 2 decades. The pamphlet described his capture, his confession to unspeakable crimes, and his brutal execution. For Londoners reading this by candlelight, the horror was palpable. It brought the distant, folkloric monster into the realm of possibility. It wasn't just a fairy tale. It was a news report, a warning that such beasts could be real and could even be your neighbor. These imported tales laid the groundwork. As London grew into a sprawling, industrial metropolis during the 18th and 19th centuries, the nature of fear changed. The wild forests were gone, replaced by a new kind of wilderness, the labyrinthine city itself. The fog-choked alleyways, the dimly lit docks, the sprawling, anonymous slums, this was the new hunting ground for monsters. And it was here that the werewolf legend was reborn, not as a country peasant cursed by a witch, but as an urban predator. The fear was no longer of the wild outside the city walls, but of the darkness lurking within them. This era gave rise to specific, localized sightings and whispers that became part of London's own mythology. Tales circulated of strange, wolf-like figures seen darting through graveyards or lurking near the towns. One persistent story from the 19th century speaks of a beast of the burrow, a large, canine creature that was said to stalk the area around Southwark. Eyewitness accounts, likely embellished with each telling, described a creature larger than any known dog, with glowing eyes and an unnerving, semi-human intelligence. Was it a real animal, an escaped exotic pet perhaps? Or was it the product of a collective urban anxiety, a physical manifestation of the city's perceived dangers? Another compelling account comes from the early 20th century, centered around the historic London Zoo in Regent's Park. Zookeepers and night watchmen reportedly heard strange howls on nights of the full moon, howls that weren't coming from the wolf enclosure. They were said to emanate from the park itself, a chilling, lonely sound that seemed to answer the captive wolves. These stories fueled speculation that a genuine lycanthrope was drawn to its caged brethren, a wild spirit trapped in the heart of the civilized city. These weren't official reports, of course, but whispers and rumors that added another layer to London's growing werewolf lore. The werewolf became a powerful metaphor for the Victorian gentleman's struggle with his own primal nature. Think of Robert Louis Stevenson's strange case of Dr. Jekyll and Murdoch Hyde. Published in 1886. While not explicitly a werewolf story, it taps into the exact same fear, the respectable, civilized man harboring a monstrous, violent brute within him. Hyde, unleashed upon the London night, is a perfect urban werewolf. He represents the hidden desires and savage impulses that Victorian society tried so desperately to repress. The story resonated so deeply because it reflected a very real anxiety about the duality of human nature, an anxiety that played out against the backdrop of London's dark, foggy streets. This cultural imprint grew stronger with the advent of cinema. The 1935 film Werewolves of London cemented the city's connection with the myth in the global consciousness. The film's protagonist, Dr. Wilfred Glendon, is a wealthy botanist who gets bitten by a wolf-like creature in Tibet. He returns to London, only to find himself transforming into a monster under the light of the full moon. The film masterfully uses London's iconic landmarks, the Tower Bridge, the foggy streets, as the hunting ground for its creature. It established the trope of the tragic, sophisticated werewolf, a gentleman by day and a beast by night, forever tying the legend to the city's identity. And then, of course, there's the famous 1978 song by Warren Zevon, Werewolves of London. With its catchy piano riff and unforgettable howl, the song took the legend and injected it with a dose of cool rock and roll swagger. The lyrics paint a picture of a dapper, almost charming werewolf drinking a pina colada at Trader Vic's, his hair perfect. This wasn't the tortured beast of old folklore. This was a modern, urban monster, perfectly at home in the cosmopolitan chaos of London. The song became a cultural touchstone, ensuring that for generations to come, the phrase Werewolves of London would immediately evoke a specific, iconic image. So from ancient European myths and sensationalist pamphlets to the dark anxieties of the Victorian city and its immortalization in film and music, the legend of the London werewolf has proven to be incredibly resilient. It's a story that has adapted and evolved, reflecting the changing fears of the city's inhabitants. It speaks to our enduring fascination with the thin veil between civilization and savagery, between the human and the beast. The Werewolf of London isn't just a monster. It's a dark mirror, showing us the wildness that might just be lurking beneath the surface of the most sophisticated city on Earth. Next time you're walking through London on a moonlit night and you hear a distant howl, you might just find yourself looking over your shoulder. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the city's shadowy past. If you enjoyed this exploration of urban legends, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into history and folklore. Let me know in the comments which London legend you'd like to see covered next. Until then, stay curious.